What causes ADHD, and what can you do about it today that doesn't require medication? Well, go figure. The brain. Did you know that ADHD has been proven by science to be based in brain functioning? It has been proven to be created and continued by underlying irregular brain patterns. Did you know that the brain controls everything physically and mentally in our body? From feeling sad, to being stressed out or overwhelmed, and to having challenges with productivity, staying on task, or being motivated. It all starts and ends with the brain. And since it all starts and ends in the brain, I think it's important that I start with taking a few minutes to give you a quick overview about the brain, how it works, and the importance of getting your brain mapped to see your brain pattern if you've been diagnosed or have had some concerns about ADHD. Think of your brain as this one big neural network, or like a supercomputer of the body, that is responsible for how we think, feel, perceive, process information, and so much more. And take a moment and imagine if this big neural network or supercomputer is not running smoothly or performing efficiently, all of the possible challenges you could face. I mean, we all know how important our computers are, right? And how frustrated we can get when we have too many tabs open, or if it's running slowly, switching from one page to the next, or when it just decides to shut down or crash when we need it the most. It's simply frustrating. Well, just like there are several components of your computer that allows it to run smoothly and perform efficiently, think of your brain in the same manner. There are several components that make up how our brain actually functions and works, and there are two specific aspects that I want to talk about today that we look at when understanding your brain performance. And they are brain lobes, or brain areas, and brain waves, or the speed at which your brain's electrical energy is functioning. First, let me talk briefly about brain lobes that our team studies when gathering information about your brain performance. We start with the QEEG brain map, which gives us a visual representation of how your brain is functioning and the areas that might be overactive or underactive. Seeing and understanding your brain areas through brain mapping is important because it provides us information about what each area of the brain does, meaning its job or responsibility, and how it uses speed or energy. To keep this simple and for the purposes of this topic, I'm going to give you a little information about each area specifically and the areas that pertains to ADD and ADHD. And I will share with you at the end how to learn more if you want to get a little deeper. Let's start with the frontal lobe. This is found in the very front part of the brain, and it's a part of the brain that we can see with our technology and brain mapping irregular brain patterns correlated with ADHD. The front part of the brain is for executive functioning, or things like thinking, planning, decision-making, attention, working memory, emotions. People with irregular brain patterns in this area may experience difficulty with focus and attention, trouble with expressing their emotions, poor decision-making, impulse control, and more. The temporal lobe is found on either side of the brain and just above the ears. This is a language and speech area, auditory processing area. Memory and emotions are also here. People with irregular brain patterns in this area may experience difficulty understanding or processing what they are hearing, or difficulty expressing or verbalizing their thoughts. Word finding challenges may occur, and some underlying emotions may be there as well. The parietal lobe is found at the top back of the brain, and it's responsible for spatial awareness, processing sensory information, math, processing language, and more. People with irregular brain patterns in this area may notice trouble with writing, math, language, and perception of things and objects. The occipital lobe is in the very back part of the brain. It's responsible for visual learning, visual memory, visual processing, and people with irregular brain patterns may notice difficulty reading or writing, or feeling as though words are moving on a page, trouble with balance or coordination, trouble recognizing faces or familiar objects. Now, Imagine if one or several of these areas had some irregular brain patterns, meaning they were overactive or underactive. Can you see how that might cause trouble with the task you're attempting to perform? Whether it's focusing for a test or big event, or trying to relax and prepare for bed. That can become a challenge, right? Now that we know some of the areas of the brain, we still need to know how they are functioning. And we do this by understanding your brain speeds or brain waves. So let's jump right to brain waves. A healthy brain has optimal speed. Our brain is electrical, and the speed of electrical energy flowing through the brain is known as processing speed or brain waves. Brain waves provide a great deal of information on how we are feeling and functioning. Brain waves break down energy by speed, and depending on your brain's speed, we can identify states of distractibility, focus, relaxation, stress, underlying moods, and overall brain function. There are 5 main brain waves that the brain uses to be able to get into different states throughout the day. A healthy brain, or one that is performing optimally, is able to get in and out of these states effortlessly. The brain waves are high beta. This is a very fast wave, or a brain wave that produces a lot of energy. A lot of times this can be stress or anxiety when we see this in a brain map. Beta waves, it's a fast wave as well, but not quite as fast as high beta. This one's responsible for being more alert, attentive, engaged thinking, and problem solving. Alpha brain waves, that's a brain wave that's not too fast and it's not too slow. It's more of a relaxed state. It's when your brain is idling and ready for whatever task lies ahead. Now we're going to get to some of the lower brain powers. Theta waves, it's a slower wave. It's more for drowsiness or deep relaxation. Delta brainwave, that's the slowest brainwave that we see. This one's responsible for sleep. So think about your own life and your day-to-day responsibilities. If you are engaged in a task that requires you to perform and or produce work, an optimal brain state that you need to access is beta. Being in the beta brain state when performing tasks, learning a new skill, or carrying on a conversation is important for optimal performance. Now let's say you're performing a task, attempting to learn a new skill, and trying to carry on a conversation, and you're producing more of a theta brain activity, so fast theta. This could cause you to zone out or feel easily distracted. You may become drowsy or potentially miss what's being taught. A common ADHD brain pattern, but certainly not the only pattern we see, can show slow or low beta and or high or excess frontal lobe theta, which a lot of times is why it's difficult to focus or stay on task. Beta, the brainwave responsible for being focused and alert, does not have enough energy or speed, and theta, the one that needs to go a little slower, is moving so fast that the person may spend a lot of time going off task, daydreaming, or being easily distracted. That's why medications are often prescribed or suggested to regulate this type of brain pattern or brain activity. Well, thanks to science, technology, and cutting-edge solutions like neurofeedback, we can train your brain to access these states without the use of medications. Neurofeedback, which is biofeedback for the brain, is a non-invasive process by which your brain learns what it needs to do to improve its performance. During a neurofeedback session, you will have sensors placed on your scalp that are used to monitor your brain's activity. We will be able to see on a computer screen and get feedback on what your brain is actually doing and compare that to what you'd like it to be doing. There are several ways to receive this feedback, whether that's through a video brain game, watching a movie, or listening to music. For example, remember how I said that an ADHD brain pattern is a brain producing too much theta activity, which is the drowsy or sleepy brainwave, and not enough beta, which is more that focused and alert? Well, if we place sensors on your scalp, we could monitor what your brain was doing in real time and give you feedback on that information. You would be sitting with us in front of a computer screen, and when your brain enters a calmer, focused, or the desired state, you will be rewarded with positive feedback on the computer screen by the game, movie, or music operating smoothly. If your brain waves are not firing at the desired speed, You will receive negative feedback, meaning the movie might pause, the game might stop, or the music might stop. This process is acting as a reward conditioning system for your brain. And with this type of immediate feedback, your brain will learn when something is out of balance, and it will also learn what it needs to do to get it back on track. Over time and through repetition, your brain will learn exactly what it needs to do to perform more consistently and within optimal range. Research has shown that this is to promote lasting structural changes within the brain. And there are also several studies that show neurofeedback as a promising treatment for ADHD in children and adults. If you want to learn more or go a little deeper on this topic or about neurofeedback, please contact us today. We look forward to seeing you soon.